Hey, Nick, congratulations on the win. Um, you often talked about your team's ability to figure stuff out as games go along. What do you think they figured out in that last 7 minutes besides just playing really hard?
Well, we did a little better job of covering up the ball and the roller and the lobber a little bit. We were in a lot of coverages tonight. Um, they were doing a really good job and running things with pace and speed. That was one thing, and then we did a good job of it. Kind of was the same game at the other end of finding a matchup we could hit to the paint with and make a good decision, either finish it off or dump it off or kick it out. So just a little better execution of that same game. It was kind of mirroring itself at both ends, and we just kind of did we did a lot better in the last 7 minutes of the game.
Well, is it just a matter of your guys getting a read for what's going on as the game goes on, do you think?
I lost you there, Doug, but
Sorry, yeah, sorry. Do you think it's just a matter of your guys reading the game and as the game goes along, and sometimes it takes longer to get that read in?
well, Doug, like stuff starts happening, right? There's some breakdowns or whatever, and sometimes you got to decide what's causing that. Is it the coverage, or is it we're not doing the coverage hard enough or well enough?
Right.
Is it a matchup, or isn't that matchup guarding hard enough? So there's a lot of kind of intricacies there that you're trying to figure out, and we had to switch a lot of things on the fly, a lot of coverages and a lot of matchups and a lot of stuff because it just wasn't, it was funky, and that's what you do. You keep searching and searching and searching, and I'm sure you were seeing how much we were searching for matchups and tendencies, guard who could guard what coverage would work, all that stuff, and it took us a long time. We went to some zone, we went to some triangle and two. We were searching for a spark, but we finally found it.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, Doug.
Going to go next to Tim Bontemps from ESPN.com.
Hello, Nick. You've talked a couple times recently about Pascal maybe deserving some more trips to the foul line, being aggressive, getting to the rim. I think he had 9 free throw attempts today, but you still think that there's a little more he could be getting in terms of calls on some of these drives that he's getting into the paint throughout these games.
Well, I'm probably always going to think that, Tim. I think they should call a lot of those bumps and hits and body ups, but I think nine's a decent number. I'm going to celebrate that tonight, maybe later, and then we'll just keep fighting for more. But we're also in seriousness trying to get him to play through those hits and stuff, so he doesn't. He scores them anyway. I think there's a fair amount that'll get let go. It is the playoffs, right? So you're going to have to score through some physicality anyway.
And then you went to that all small lineup down the stretch with him at center. That's not something we've seen very much of this year. What did you think of it? Is that something you might travel to more of as the playoffs go on?
Well, I think it was, it was a tough one for me, Tim, because that group, which included Serge and Norm, was rolling, right? They took a deficit to a nice lead, and Pascal's one of your all-stars sitting over there, and you don't really usually let those guys sit much longer than you do there. You always let them get in and finish, but it was a consideration today because that group was rolling, and then we just decided that the best thing to do would be to go small so we could switch everything, and it worked out okay.
Sorry, I had to mute you there, Tim. We're going to move on. Next question goes to Michael Grange from Sportsnet.
Hey, Nick. Mike, hope you're well. Great win. Was this, in game one, I think you hit 22 threes. The game was up and down. The scores came really easy. Was there a benefit to playing a game that looked like it was going to be in the 90s and just, as you point out, just having to kind of keep squeezing out offense wherever you could find it while defending at a high level?
Well, I think, Michael, that this is a really good example of playoff basketball. Each game takes a whole different shape. I would assume game 3 is going to take another one. That's what makes it so interesting and intriguing, I think. And I always say there's a lot of ways to win a game, and you just got to find one of them. There's somewhere around 1 million different ways to win a game, and you just got to find one of them. And tonight was a different way to do it, right?
Yeah. I always thought it was around 800,000, but if you say it's 1 million, that's fine.
It's going up every day.
Mark, he was a pretty aggressive factor in game 1, and much less so today, and looked a little frustrated at times. Do you even worry about that? Do you expect him just to rebound in game 3, or do you?
Well, I think we expect him to rebound, and he's such a good player, Michael. But yeah, we want to put some thought into it and see if we can't get him a few things in there. And again, he's getting knocked around pretty good, but the guys that are doing the knocking around are awful short. I mean, not short, but they're smaller, shorter than him. You know what I mean? Underneath him. So it looks like maybe there's not much there because he's so big and they're underneath him, but he's going to have to withstand some of that because it doesn't look like he's going to get those. It's before he's even catching it. You know what I mean? As the way the ball's on the way in, he's getting chopped and hit and legged and hipped and all kinds of stuff. But he's going to have to withstand that and play through it if he wants to get a few buckets and a few trips to the free throw line. And he can do it. He can do it.
Thanks, Nick.
Going to go next to Eric Kareen from The Athletic.
Hey, Nick. Good afternoon. You've been with the Raptors as long as Norm's been here. His ability to get into the paint has never been questioned. His ability to finish there has sometimes waxed and waned. What have you seen this year and tonight specifically that he's added when getting to the rim?
Well, he seems pretty explosive this year, Eric, and pretty decisive, right? There's some of those he gets in the open floor, and even though it's him and there's 3 guys back, you can almost tell he's going to try to punch through there. And a lot of times he does, and that's just being aggressive. And if he punches through there a little bit, he's usually going to be in good shape. But he had some awesome drives tonight, really timely, too. We needed some of those. We needed some easy offense and transition that he provided.
And just curious, when Allen's in the game or is not in the game, obviously they don't have a huge rim protector. Do you have to say anything to your team about let's put pressure on them, let's take everything to the rim in those situations, or do they just know to do that kind of?
Well, we've certainly talked about it, Eric, and I think they understand it's part of this series, and they usually take it upon themselves to start doing it. And if not, we'll just give them a little gentle reminder. Yeah.
Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome, Eric.
Going to do 3 more questions. First one goes to John Schumann from NBA.com.
Hey, Coach. You talked a little bit about this in your first answer, but how specifically did you guys adjust to their switching? Your second half was obviously a more efficient half. What specifically did you get better in the second half in regard to attacking all the switching?
Well, when you're seeing switching, you got to cut a little bit more, John. Cut a little harder off the ball. You got to slip out of a few more screens. Again, that's kind of a cutting type move as well. So you do a little bit more cutting and a lot less setting of screens. And then we tried to just stay away from ball screens some too. We tried to run some off ball, pin down actions, and quite a few set plays. Right? We usually like to play a pretty open concept offense, but tonight we were calling a lot of plays just to move them around and create a bunch of switches before we started to attack the paint.
Were you surprised at all about that adjustment that they made?
Which one?
Just switching, coming out and basically switching everything.
No, not really. I mean, they did it quite a bit at the end of the last game, so it was pretty good. They really executed it well. They did a good job, man. They were really ready for the game. Made some good adjustments. We had to make some more on the fly, and that's kind of what happens when one team wins and one team loses. You see a lot of adjustments from one team, and the other team's trying to do everything they just did, but that isn't really reality. It doesn't always work out that way, as we saw today.
Thanks.
You're welcome, John.
Next question goes to Scott Stinson from the National Post.
Hey, Nick, with that small lineup you closed the game with, how much of that for you as a coach is just kind of feel with making a change and then hoping it works and being willing to change it back quickly if it doesn't work?
Yeah, I mean, it's all feel, Scott. I mean, it's like what I'm always trying to do is get my 5 guys that have played the best throughout the night on the floor late. And Norman was having a game. I think Serge played well, but I think the 5 best guys finished the game. OG was doing such a great job on Levert, even though he wasn't scoring much. He had to be out there. You know, Freddie and Kyle had to be out there. Norm had to be out there, and Pascal had a decent game going. So it just kind of, again, like I said, it was a tough one because that group with Serge was rolling, and you know, we made the switch to go small, and it worked out okay.
And has that been your philosophy as a head coach, like going back to your pre-NBA days?
Well, yeah, I think so. I think that we're always trying to evaluate in the game who should be on the floor. You know, who's got it on the night, what matchups are working, what group of guys is playing well together. Lots of factors that go into it, yeah.
All right, thanks, Nick.
You're welcome, Scott.
And final question goes to Bruce Arthur from the Toronto Star.
Nick, I mean, you've given us a lot of really good answers on how this team's gotten better at figuring out games and managing games, but how have you seen this group get better at that as the season's gone on? Or is it a continuum? Is it little things? Like, what do you see in terms of making that a better toolbox?
Well, I think Bruce, a lot of tonight was there was quite a few adjustment type things going on that they're really good at, and it wasn't going very good, as you obviously saw when you were watching, and sometimes there's games where they really need more, they defer way more to the coaching staff than other games. Some night they really got a lot of suggestions and a lot of answers, and they want to do this and that because they're on the floor and doing it. And there's some nights where everything seems to be going wrong, and they're like, you know, you guys got to help us, man. What the hell are you doing over here? And so they're good at kind of being on both of those things, right? But tonight really was way more about gutting it out, Bruce. I mean, there was a lot of matchup changing, coverage changing, all that kind of stuff, but it was just we really had to hang in there. You know, we were getting hit around pretty hard, and they were trying to deliver a knockout punch to us, and we just kind of hung in long enough to keep fighting and gut it out.
And that relationship you talk about between you and them, the coaching staff and the players, that's trust, right? That's earned, like last year, this year, game to game, day to day.
It is, and it's really nice. I mean, it's first of all, Bruce, there's a bunch of smart guys there. There's toughness and there's smarts, and they're really trying to, even when it looks like there's a really blown assignment and somebody lob dunks one on us, it's usually because somebody was trying really hard and they just didn't quite get it done. You know, even those really blown plays, it isn't usually lack of effort, and that's a huge statement to make. And I think the group's, you know, really together on that page for sure.